clearance requirements from the Lebanese authorities and limited flight options, with only one airline currently operating flights into Beirut. So basically, the airspace is not safe in that area, and therefore the options are very limited. And when we talk of a fourth and fifth batch, it depends on how many seats we are able to get at any one time for them to come. So it may be in lots of 10, in lots of 20, perhaps up to 30 if we are lucky. Remember, we are competing also with other nations that are also undertaking a similar exercise for their nationals in that area. So it's going to be likely a long drawn-out undertaking. To expedite this process, a multi-agency team from Kenya, joined by officials from our embassy in Kuwait, have been dispatched to assist the Honorary Council to coordinate the activities. The government is also aware of the potential for a larger conflict in the Middle East and has requested all Kenyan ambassadors in the region to conduct a swift registration exercise of Kenyans in their jurisdiction. This initiative aims to ascertain the number of Kenyans in those countries, because many do not go through regular channels and they do not register with our nearest mission required. Now, this is one of the dilemmas. Kenyans go, but they don't indicate where they're going. They use their own channels, and sometimes we have to really fish for them to come forward. So these are some of the challenges, and this is where I'll really request members of the Fourth Estate to help us. At this stage, we would also like to discourage Kenyans from traveling to countries that are experiencing this conflict or turmoil. They should not gamble. It's not a game out there. If there's a conflict and we know it, you are educating Kenyans through your media outlets. They should be cautious and not make trips to these areas until the situation has completely calmed down, because they could land into difficulty. I also wish to assure you that the government of Kenya shall remain closely appraised of the development in the Middle East and is committed to protecting citizens across the world. And finally, just to reiterate that there is a committee here which is seized with this matter, so that we are monitoring on a regular basis. The Treasury has committed to support through an initial 100 million Kenya shillings to assist in this exercise. We are also trying to look at other means that could be deployed. It's a very expensive undertaking, risky. When you talk of some of the people in aviation or in shipping, they tell you that it's now very expensive because the marine insurance or the air cover insurance to allow them to go into these areas is very prohibitive. So it's a fairly complex situation. But I just want to say that we will do our best within our means to continue giving support to our Kenyans, and hopefully we shall not suffer any casualties. This short statement will be released to you, and if there are any questions, I'm flanked by the PS. I'll task her to do the more difficult part. So if you have any questions, either to me or to her, this is the time. Yeah.
Well, appearing before the committee, you say that Gambia so far received 3 cohorts of Kenyans from Lebanon. So I would like a bit to ask if you can break it down in terms of numbers.
Yeah. Karibu.
My name is Frederick Asai from KBC. My question comes in regards to statements by the OPCS that the government will now discourage Kenyans from traveling to those countries. But now, does this contradict the Kenya Kwanza agenda of exporting labor to other countries?
Right. So I could take the two questions.
Yeah.
The first one is that the total number of Kenyans who have come back is something like 35 Kenyans who government has evacuated in the first 3 cohorts. We are aware that a number of Kenyans have come back on their own initiative, on their own, funded by other agencies and partners. We are even aware that there is a group that arrives tonight that is privately funded. Over the weekend, the cohort 4 and 5, we're expecting over 30 to come in. And then as Waziri said, this is something that we expect will continue we will continue to do it this way. We are, of course, exploring opportunities to do larger scale evacuations, but as Waziri said, it is extremely expensive and the options now are limited. It is not what it was in August when we started the evacuation. Only one airline is flying and it's extremely expensive to move people about. These are the limitations we are working through. Secondly, within the global labor market strategy that this administration has, we prioritize the welfare of Kenyans in championing their rights and welfare wherever they work, which is partly why we've been in the business of negotiating agreements to make sure that their rights and welfare is catered for wherever they go. It is not in government's interest or in anybody's interest really to have Kenyans go into war zones, because as soon as they land there, then we have to do the hard work of evacuating them. We're committed to the rights and welfare of Kenyans living abroad, and that is why we are issuing the advisory that they ought to not go to these places. We have had Kenyans arriving in Lebanon even as we're in the process of evacuating. So this is a caution to Kenyans.
Okay. I think that does it. Oh, one more.
My name is Lukavich from the Star. I just wanted to know, like, these 7,000 who have registered, how much does it take to bring them home? I also understand Treasury has committed 100 million. And then, 2, now that the airlines depend on the space available in that one flight from Kuwait, what is your estimation on the length of time to bring the 7,000 home?
As I said, it's a protracted issue. It could take a long time, and that's why I said we are looking at other means. And I did indicate that we are also considering the possibility of evacuation by sea, so that you can get people to be sailed to a different destination, and then from there you make arrangements. So we are looking at different options. You know, when the risks are high, the tickets will be more costly, because the aviation or the airlines will charge a premium to be able to get the people out. So obviously it will be a very expensive exercise. I cannot give you an exact figure at this stage, but we definitely pray and hope that there can be an immediate cessation of the conflict. That would be the best outcome. Then we would not have to go through this particular tension. Okay, thank you.